Yeah, but that's still part of the box.
This is a whole ass box.
Yes.
You said a small box.
You said a small box.
Is this a small?
Steady now.
On the back.
Ready to go?
I am all ready.
Of course you are.
Always.
We got one. We got an extra one.
Where? Boys. Good? Because we're just helping.
Thank you.
No, our eyes are big in our stomach.
This snow is terrible. Oh,
Horrible.
this is terrible snow. Oh, you got gloves? That's cheating.
I am prepared.
Yeah, which one? Which one are you gonna bring? Are you bringing that one?
This one.
Okay. Okay, and I'm gonna knock. Okay, step back. Okay, turn around, turn around. You gotta wait. Yeah, look at the door. Come here, come here, come here. I'm videotaping it, yes. I mean, not really. It's not the going up, it's the coming down. Rolling? Yeah. We're rolling. All right. Okay, so this is what's today? January 8th. That's right. This is the day after the election in Virginia, the special election in Virginia. Mm-hmm. I'm here with the two people who led the, well, let me say that the one person who led the trip and the person who advised him. This is Matthew and Pouya. If you saw our earlier video, Matthew was just via laptop as a head, and now he's a real human being, fully. Can you pan up and down? This is a,
That's right.
This is
that's
a full
right.
young brother right
I'm
here.
here in the flesh.
Okay, so we're here. We're not in Virginia right now.
We're not.
Where are we right now, Pouya? Where are we?
We're in D.C. Pretty close, actually, to Union Station and Noma, for folks who are familiar with D.C. areas.
Okay, so we're here. This is our rest and recharge after a bunch of hard door knocking in the snow, which is still all around us here. And we are right next to Georgetown, because you're going to go for a tour, right?
That's right. It's the Georgetown Law Center. So it's not exactly next to the entire university. It has a remote location, but yeah.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna start walking.
Yeah.
We're gonna start walking. We got
All right.
CP staffer Asha on the video.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we just went in Virginia, and this video is really just to capture the win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we went out to Virginia because it was the first election of 2025. Special election, control the state legislature, House, Senate equivalents in the state, and we weren't sure. These are blue districts, but we weren't sure for a win. Like, we thought in the fall last year that we were going to win, and we did. So now we're not sure of anything.
Yeah. Right.
Now we're not sure anything. And the local folks, they sounded super optimistic, but also not sure, because we don't know how voters feel about Dems right now. We don't know about turnout. Turnout was low in the beginning, actually, when we got there. So all these things signaled towards something that we should have been worried about, and it was worth our time to come out here. Pouya, what else did you see in the beginning of that made it something that was high on your radar?
Yeah, I think the reason that it kind of tipped me off more was that it's the first election.
Okay.
It's also the timing of it. You know, that's the difficult part around really close to the holidays. There's the one side of, are the Dems going to show up? Are they going to show out? but it's also, are they actually going to do it so close?
Yeah.
Right. Where I've been talking for a while about the Supreme Court races in Wisconsin, or Supreme Court race in Wisconsin.
Right.
But that's in 3-4 months. It takes a while. People can recharge. You can reset. Maybe get energized by the Trump presidency. But
Right.
this moment, it felt like we're trying to just say, you know what? Until January 20th, let's just reset, recharge, try to, not watch the news, not pay attention. That seemed to be the mentality.
So even us, even our
us.
organization,
Exactly. So
that responds to these, that responded to one
Right.
previous cycle, we were like, can we mobilize people?
That's right.
Can we get out there?
So that was the thing for me. It was like, okay, it's close to the holiday season, just right out of it. But also, it's a moment where it seems like people just want to not pay attention to politics anymore.
That's right. So
or
we
at least
were
a bit. So
Okay.
that was the worry. Yeah.
So that's when we said, that's when Ben, who's at I think Ben's at a spa right now taking a break.
It is.
I know this is important for people to hear because people are like, is Ben taking care of herself? Ben is at a spa in Virginia.
Myself.
You dropped her off yourself.
Dropped her off
Okay.
myself.
Okay.
So we know she's there.
Okay, so Ben was like, we need somebody to help push this team across the finish line, and she was like, we need Matthew. Matthew's a local. He's up there in Maryland, and this is not like a normal team. Matthew just came off of leading 3 trips in the Michigan. You were in Lansing, Detroit, Flint.
Yep.
50 people on that last trip, 50 plus 100 people maybe on that last trip.
Not 150, yeah.
It was a lot. So this is not that. This was, some staff members, some Action Academy students, some educators, a few volunteers, some local people. So this is not a regular trip. And also there's all these headwinds that he's talking about.
Yes.
What were you thinking about in the lead up to this trip
Yeah.
for your own leadership?
I think, like that first night. Closer. That first night, we briefly spoke about how simple this could be. In Michigan, it was very grand, very, like we had to work at times to close ourselves down to be smaller for the moment, as opposed to being too big and dramatic all the time. And here it's quite the opposite, right? Like back then we had everything to lose, and now we have absolutely nothing to lose. Right?
That's actually a really good point.
Right?
That's a good point.
We've lost it all. The House, the Senate, the White House. So here we're almost like
Mm.
vagabonds in a sense. Like we're fighting for what we can.
Okay.
And right now it feels like scraps, but the more we collect, right? We got 2 wins here. Kanan Srinivasan for the Senate, and JJ Singh for the House of Delegates in Virginia. So we're gonna keep collecting scraps until we can build something bigger.
Okay,
with it.
that's you're looking at it through a lens of humility. Somebody who's in Maryland who. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5.
Blue.
Temperatures
It is
right
very
now.
cold.
It's
I am
cold as hell.
control myself not to shiver too much, but I'm like tense up, y'all.
But this is how cold it was. We were knocking on doors.
Yes.
It was worse.
It was worse.
Yep.
So we knocked on doors. It was snowstorm. Got shut down for a whole day.
Yeah.
And yet we ended up with what kind of numbers? How many doors did we knock
So
on?
we did 2,363 doors. That averages out to about 52 doors per volunteer per day. 'Cause
Which
we
is
had-
huge.
We had no more than 50
Because what's our
volunteers
normal
running a given day.
average, Pouya?
Normal average across the board is about 35 to 40, give or take, depending on the state. But 52 in this weather, if this was a normal weather where it was, nice, sunny, all that stuff, man, this would be like in the 60s, 70s.
Right. So this is, and then some of that is like the neighborhoods in Virginia that are
Yes.
good for us, but also when we're in these smaller trips and we handpick people, we pick people that we know are going to knock on doors. It's one of the strengths of CP. Okay, so we get this win, and I got to tell you, immediately I was like, all right, what's next? Like I wasn't like, I'm super excited about this. This is great because it was kind of a blowout, right? What were the numbers? Do you remember the margins?
It's about 60 to 40%, which is pretty good. This was the result in 2023 in these districts, so they show that Dems actually improved a little bit compared to 2023 numbers. It could be the snow on election day, all that good stuff. But yeah, it was about
Okay, so the margins were the same, which tells us something. So one, if it's a slimmer margin, I'm like, CP was needed here. This is like exactly where we should have been. However, a margin that's similar to the previous cycle tells us that there's actually not this massive drop-off for Dem voters like we thought, at least in this area. So that's a good data point for us. That gives us hope on the macro level across the board for the United States. What else? Anything else about like the team and how we made it through this time that was like top of mind for you, that like popped out to you as team lead?
Yeah, our very first, and I'm losing feeling in my ears, so my hood is going on now. But the first debrief we had on this trip, a couple people related to this idea of it just felt like another day of canvassing, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that this trip was a healthy example for our community as CP, but also communities across the country, that getting back into the work and fighting back doesn't have to be grandeur, right? It can be a simple thing. It can be as simple as waking up at 10 a.m. and us meeting in the lobby and doing a phone bank for an hour or two. It can be as simple as, going literally 5 or 10 minutes down the road and knocking out a crazy amount of doors for just 24 hours. We had people who dropped in for a day. We had people who dropped in for 2 days. And I think that speaks to everyone's commitment to the cause. But I'm very surprised by the versatility of the group and how normal things felt. To your point.
Okay, I think that's a good message to end on right there. Like, some of these things feel big and daunting. Some of them feel like we don't know where to start. And on this trip, for this election, it was one foot in front of the other. It was back to the fundamentals of what it takes to get a group of people to knock on doors in a place like Virginia in the suburbs and talk to people that may have lost hope, maybe have lost faith. It's just going out there and doing the work every day.
And a PSA, Virginia has not lost faith.
Okay, all right. Any final things, Pouya?
I think something that is maybe useful for folks to know is within the area that we were canvassing in Loudoun County. I was telling you last night, the two candidates we were supporting, they actually improved on Harris's margin by 3%.
Oh, this is important.
So that's one point to consider. And then there was a second Senate race around Richmond area, Senate District 10. And we knew it was a Republican stronghold, so we didn't go. It was not worth our time. But it was a Trump 27%. Trump won in the district technically by 27%. And now the Republican in this election won it by about 19%.
Okay. All
So
right.
that's an 8-point swing towards the Dems in the suburbs close to Richmond, which has been a trend.
Okay.
So I know it's always a thing around like, how are the moms in the suburbs going to vote, for the Dems and all that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to say like, oh, we're in a really good position for 2025 and the rest of 26, all that good stuff. But I think it's an early sign that we're not slipping at least.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
that's good. Okay. All right, we're going to turn off the camera because our camera person is freezing. Thank you for that. We'll be in touch again, y'all. Let's keep it moving.